Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Buzz. Today we are here at the Gillespie County Municipal Court. Did I say that right?
No.
I didn't say that right.
Fredericksburg
Municipal Court. And I'm actually interviewing my wonderful dad, Ron Sutton. You guys kind of might have heard about him a little bit last week when we interviewed Delia. Which she was absolutely fantastic, and she just went on and on and on about you. So this week we decided to have my dad on today because not only is he my dad and is still very special to me, he's also very special to this community. Anywhere I go, it's been this ongoing joke in our household that I see people and they go, "Oh, you're Ron Sutton's daughter," and I'm like, "Yeah, my name's Melody. Nice to meet you too." But my dad has worked with multiple things, and I'll just let him introduce himself. So tell me about yourself.
I'm Melody's dad, and Melody's my daughter. I go everywhere in town, and you're Melody's dad. So it goes both ways. What do you want to know?
So what have you done? You were a worship leader for how long?
Off and on, pretty much most of my life since college.
And a singer with who? The Continental Singers?
I toured with the Continental Singers out of California right after high school. The summer of 1977, I went to Israel, Switzerland, Yugoslavia, Austria, West Germany, and in 1978 to England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and Belgium, and across the United States, up to from California to New York, flew out, and from New York back to California, and then came home when it was done.
So now when you see Ron Sutton around town, you're not only going to want to talk to him about normal life stuff, you're going to want to get his autograph because he's done some pretty cool things. So how have you worked with the youth of our community? Because you've been very involved, not only as a worship pastor, an associate pastor off and on as well, but you've also done quite a bit with the youth. How did you get into the juvenile world?
Well, being a music major in college at Mary Hardin Baylor, um, they had a Baptist student union, and in the Baptist student union, I did the juvenile detention ministry. So we would take about 20 college kids into the Bell County Juvenile Detention Center. Um, I would take my guitar and we would sing and share the Lord with them. And that's kind of what got me into the juvenile field. I'd been a youth minister as well, a little bit. And then when we moved to Fredericksburg from Albany, Georgia, I managed the music store downtown, Hill Country Music, for 10 years. When that was kind of on its way out, I had a position with Burnett County Juvenile Probation, and I was the probation officer for Gillespie County in the juvenile side for 6.5 years. Then I moved to the adult side and was adult probation officer for 5 years. And I'm back in the juvenile world here with municipal court as the juvenile case manager. And I've been doing this since December of last year, so almost a year coming December.
And this has been kind of a really cool thing. This is an interesting job. I wasn't sure when he first got it, like exactly what it would entail. I'm not sure you were either, but you've done some pretty cool things. What is your job entail? What do you do now?
Um, so when a kid gets a traffic ticket, public intoxication, minor in possession, consumption of alcohol, any Class C misdemeanor, which is a finable offense, um, which is usually a citation of some sort. They get to come to court, and we have a teen court program that starts. It's on Monday night, once a month. The kids will come in. They will be represented by teen attorneys for the state, for the defense. then those attorneys are mentored by local attorneys who kind of coach the kids on what to do. And then the jury is made up of teens, and Judge Shelley Becker is the judge who sits on the court here in municipal court. Then once they assign them community service hours, then I assign them classes related to the offense that they did. If they committed a traffic offense, they're going to get to take a course called Alive at 25. Then they will get to write an essay on Allie's Way video. It's a distracted driving essay where the kids watch this little 10-minute video and write a 500-word essay on it. Then, if there's hours left, they will get community service hours for doing the essay, watching the video. When those are done, they're probably going to have 10, 12 hours left. Then they usually go to work at the SPCA here in town, or St. Vincent's, or I give them other essays they can write for community service credit. They can take an online mental health um, class that will help them. It's called Mental Health First Aid. It will help them recognize suicidal tendencies and mental health issues and possibly their friends so that they can get them help. Um, and so that's kind of what I do on the teen court level. Also, if they're 17 or 18 and are still in school and they have other offenses, thefts, um, whatever, any other Class C misdemeanors, then they go to court and they do what's called a deferred agreement, and they get to do the same things: a class, possible essay, just whatever I can assign them to get them to understand and be accountable for what they did. So that's what I do on that level. Then truancy kicks up, and so I deal with the truancy kids who come to court for truancy in Texas. If they miss 10 absences or parts of days, then they get to come to truancy court, and and the school officials will come and present their case. Then I supervise them on truancy issues. I go to the school, watch their grades through Skyward, watch their absences, watch their discipline referrals. So I kind of go in and do that. So
Wow. So with this the teen court stuff, does this happen like in this room right here that we just walked through?
it happens in the courtroom.
Okay.
Yeah, back here.
That's really cool.
And so
Can anyone come watch that?
yeah, so
That's super cool.
you just call the court and find out what our schedule is. Right now, our first one is September 29th, and then we'll have one, I think, October 20th. And then we have pretty much September through December almost scheduled out. So we'll be in the next court session. We'll probably fill in a couple of gaps there, and then do the rest of them starting in January. Start those courts. We usually do 3 a night. The
Wow.
kids prepare ahead of time. Now they watch the police videos, read the offense report. Then they will work with their client, their juvenile client. If they are the defense, work with them. If they're the state, they're preparing to try to get the most community service they can for them. Their defense is trying to get the least amount. So
Wow. So
it's real court, real cases.
how does that work? Like, so can they legally, like legally sentence them, if you will, with those community hours based on like, is there a judge or is that like Judge Shelley?
That's their sentence is community service hours. The jury determines there's a bracket of hours for per offense. If it's a traffic offense, it's a certain bracket of hours. Ever offense, whether it just depends on the seriousness of it, they could get up to 40, 50 hours of community service, depending on the offense. And if the jury, um, that's their punishment. That's what the jury decides.
The least or the max. So they have kind of they're within their limits of what they can, sentence someone
Yeah,
with
yeah,
kind of
they're
thing.
not. In fact, I did was introduced to the teen court when I was 16 in Killeen, Texas. We had teen court. I had just got my driver's license, and I was taking a young lady home from school, and wasn't paying a lot of attention in a school zone, and uh, looked up, and there was a police officer standing in front of me, motioning off me to the side of the road. So I went to teen court, and back in that day, they would make you write essays, do posters. The death sentence at teen court was to be a patrol boy at an elementary school, and apparently they felt that that's what I needed to do.
Oh
So
no.
I got the death sentence of teen court as the patrol boy for a week at East Ward Elementary School in Killeen, and it wasn't that bad. I thought it was kind of the kid. My buddies would come by and waving and honking and taking pictures and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun. That's all I had to do, and then I served on the jury for I think 3 or 4 terms.
Wow, that's crazy. So this has been going on for a while. This is not like a new concept.
No, teen court's been going on well since 1976 or
That you're
75
aware of,
that I
right?
know of, and
Oh my goodness.
Georgetown has they may have the longest running teen court over there in Williamson County. Uh, they have really got a really good program.
So how does a teen get a part of this program? Because I feel like, is it a club or is it something they just sign up for? Or like
They
how
get
do
a
they
ticket.
hear? Well, no, I mean like the jury or the like prosecutors or like how do you become one of those
Oh,
kids?
teen
Because
court volunteer.
hmm
We went to school during registration. They announced it on loudspeaker. We have kids from Heritage. We have a girl from Harper, the high school, or they come in as freshmen. Freshmen and sophomores are usually jurors. Um, Junior seniors can be attorneys um, and judges, even talking about trying to work in come the spring, possibly one of them being the a teen judge. So we're kind of expanding the program, and Judge Becker has she has real vision for kids. That's why I'm here, because we met each other when I was a juvenile probation officer. She represented. I would send her juvenile clients, and because I love her heart, she has a heart for the kids, has a heart to see them, be responsible citizens, and so she kind of poached me from adult probation about a year ago, right now. So
Wow, she's awesome. I've done a couple meetings with her. Yeah, I guess a couple meetings now with her with the Hive stuff, and she's just so encouraging and she's a really kind person. I enjoy being around her. So this teen court, it just is really intriguing to me. I think that's probably something I would have totally been on in high school because that's really cool. But they prepare like arguments. I mean, they go full out, right? Like
it's yeah, they prepare just like a regular attorney.
that's
They
awesome.
interview the police officer. Whoever the police officer is comes and gets on the stand, and they interview him. They call witnesses if right now it's just been police officers, um, but I guess they could technically call other witnesses. I guess if they
Yeah.
felt the need to. So
And then, like, as a jury, like, because I know, like, in the normal world, a juror is usually pulled at random. Is it kind of similar, or do you just kind
now
of
we
like
have
freshman,
whoever the
sophomore?
volunteers are that are here act as jurors, and then we have the teens that have gone through the program who are assigned jury terms. Then they come and work those jury terms off by being a part of the jury. So
That's cool. So they can,
that's
if they're on the offense side, they can come work with the in the jury side too.
no, the jury's a different animal. The jury
Juries.
just determines the community service.
That's so cool.
So
That's
uh,
crazy. So, what would you say that's probably one of your favorite things of the job? I think that's really fascinating.
uh, it's all fascinating. It's a lot of work. It's you know trying to get everything together. The offense reports, the videos, getting them to be able to see the videos and view all that. And then I kind of run them the videos when they're here in court. They tell me what section they want to see and those kind of things. So I will kind of take care of that during teen court, and then when it's all over, then the teens who have gone through the court, then they're then that's part of my deal is to assign them the classes they take or the essays, and then I keep up with that when they're done. If they don't get it done and complete the program in time, then I summons them back to court and refer them back to the judge, and the case doesn't go away. It is on their record, and then they pay whatever the fine and court cost would normally be for a ticket, which they're very expensive. Most tickets, I didn't realize tickets were so expensive. Uh, I mean, $300 to $500 on
Wow.
2 or 3, 4, $500. They're expensive. So that's why I tell my daughter and everybody I can, don't mess with your phone in the car. Put your car on cruise control when you're going down Friendship Lane, um,
Specifically.
because they will pull you over. And
And maybe pay attention to the new Friendship Lane school zone.
yeah, they're really tagging people there for sure.
So,
So
I would like, since you've had so much like history working with juveniles, what would you say is like, if you could relate it to a certain thing, is there something that you find that's kind of like a common thread within the juvenile system that would make kids kind of go to the juvenile side or make mistakes? Or is it just common sense? Or is there like a common thread within?
well, there's when I did juvenile probation, I didn't quite understand. It's not that hard. I don't think to stay out of trouble. It's just not. Just do the right thing, but the juvenile brain is not fully developed. The frontal lobe does not develop in boys till they're in their mid 20s to 30s, and in girls they're saying mid 20s. So that's why kids would. That's why I was the same way doing a jump off the house, jumping motorcycles off of a little homemade ramp, and I mean doing stuff that I probably shouldn't have lived through my childhood days, but I did, and that's because they're bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think anything's going to hurt them, so there's really not anything that they're really kind of no fear,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like your daughter. Um,
Yeah,
so
Annie's a
yeah,
mess.
my granddaughter, she's no fear on that girl.
Not at all.
At some point, she will have a frontal lobe, and it'll be developed, and maybe she won't do those kind of
Or
things.
not if she keeps smacking it into a rock.
Yeah, but so juveniles, um, yeah, that they hook up with the wrong folks, the wrong people who lead them down. Who they do criminal things,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, marijuana. The vaping issue is a big deal. Tobacco vapes or THC vapes, that's a felony. Um, that kind of stuff. It's not the marijuana of the 70s or 60s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Got all kinds of things in it,
yeah,
especially if it's a vape, I would feel.
yeah, and it's dangerous. It's stuff that is mind altering, permanently mind altering, and it's just it's not good. And so the vaping thing, they think vaping is is safer than cigarettes, and it's all tobacco. Those are Class C's. Um, and if I get them, they get to do a vaping class and write me an essay on that kind of stuff. Hopefully, they'll learn something. Hopefully,
Yeah.
they will understand that it's not worth what they're doing now to not be able to breathe when they're my age or die.
Well, and it's
you know.
interesting you say that you think they're bulletproof because it's crazy to look back, like, as an adult, like looking back into my life, realizing, I didn't do any crazy things, but looking back and being like, man, I thought I was bulletproof. But then it takes that whole like childlike faith verse, and it kind of brings you to like a little perspective, because if we thought we were bulletproof and we put that into our faith, like that makes so
Mhm.
much the world like such a different place. And I think, if they took that bulletproof and like concept or mentality and put it into something positive, how much we'd have like world changers, we'd have
Oh yeah.
doctors at like a young age, because if you take that energy and put it into something productive, you know, wouldn't that
Yeah.
make the world of a difference?
It would make it a lot different, and that's what saved me growing up. Is I was a part of a good youth group at church, and God had a hold of my heart early on, and music was a draw. I might have started playing the guitar as a chick magnet, but ended up,
That's
turning
funny.
into worship, and so that's my therapy. I can get alone and play, um, and so yeah, you could do a lot of things. That's why I think the Charlie Kirk thing is going. That's why there's such a draw, because they see somebody who is a young man who was willing to stand for his faith, and who was willing to confront evil and the crazy stuff that's going on in our society. And I think that's a draw, because everybody wants to live for something.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to stand for something. And so if you don't have a leader there, somebody um, who you can believe in and who you can look up to, then um, you know that's what people want.
Well,
And
and definitely with the like Charlie Kirk thing, I think what was so huge, you know, with him was he was so kind about his responses, like, and so wise. And so that like when he would look at someone and confront someone with an opposing opinion, he never did it with like criticism. He almost did it with just like the straight up love of Jesus behind him. And you could tell that, but he never had to bring up Jesus either. It was just like such a like, it just oozed right out of him.
Mhm.
And it's cool because, like you say, I think if we had less technology or access to technology with the negative things, like maybe kids wouldn't be so willy nilly about what they believed in, because they're just going to believe what they read or see or watch or, reel or
Well, and
whatever.
that's why with the new school laws of them not having their phones at school, this should have happened 15 years ago when phones came out,
Mm-hmm.
or iPhones, smartphones came out, and it didn't. And that was a huge issue when I was doing juvenile probation, was the phone thing. Um, and so this year is a new error for that, of having they can have their phones at school. They're not supposed to. I don't know if they can be owned, but they got to be silenced. They have to be in their backpack, zipped up, where they have no access to them in the classroom. And I think that's going to change
Is
the.
that like a law now?
I believe it is.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I don't. They're not going to get. Their phone will get taken away, and the parents will have to come pay. You know, something to get it back. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what the schools are doing, but it's not necessarily a law. Well, I don't know. It might be. It's
Well,
not one
see,
I deal
I
with.
think it's interesting when I hear people complaining about it, because when we were kids, that's how we were. Like, I don't know how many times you and mom had to go pick up my phone. Like, most of the time I was texting my mom or my dad, but still, we would get it taken away.
Well, it gets
And
taken away and found, and I believe it
yeah,
is a law. I believe it's a Texas law that they cannot have them own them in school. And I guess I could get somebody like that if they got caught enough times that the school referred it to me,
Yeah.
a case to me, but I don't.
It'd probably be
I doubt that's going to happen.
a small deal, yeah. Well, and it's just an interesting it's an interesting thing because I think it just, having phones or being the ability to you're not learning. You're playing on your phone or you're using it as a calculator, you're doing something that I don't know. That doesn't I mean, I think technology um can benefit, but it can also be the death of the death of us
Yes,
if
it
we're
can.
not
Yeah.
careful. Um
Yeah.
so would you say like do you see like a lot of like the family being an issue as far as like the lack of a father or the lack of a mother or the family unit maybe being disconnected? Do you feel like that's
Oh
huge in the
yeah.
juvenile?
Yeah. Yeah. The family unit has been the kids that I dealt with, especially on the probation side, juvenile side. Their parents wanted to be their best friend and not their parent.
Mm.
And so, you know, everybody's picking on their kid where that's not the case normally. Their kid is doing something they shouldn't be doing. And and the parent wants to be the best friend, and that's not how you do it. And a prosecutor says if your kids think you're their best friend, you're not doing your job, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And if your kids hate you at times because you're doing your job, you're doing your job.
Yeah.
And but because if you don't, you know, that's the ones that have no boundaries, no, um, you know, and
Well, and kids need structure. I mean, they need like a routine and they need structure and they search for that a lot of times. I know like in the dance studio and as a dance studio, I feel like the kids who thrived the best, now that the studio is not there, I've seen some of them kind of trickle back into some things and it's like they needed that structure, that family, that, kind of these are the rules. You follow these rules, you know.
and
Um, mentally, I think it does something for their development,
and extracurricular activities. You know, if they're not into something, band or choir or ROTC or a club at school, sports, whatever, you know, that's where they're going to find, you know, some common, uh, you know, camaraderie, some things that where they would something that they thrive off of that they other than looking in their screen all
Mm-hmm.
day and the game thing and all that mess and um, I think that's huge and I think that's why what you're doing with this hive thing is is important because I think kids need somewhere where they can um, feel needed, wanted, uh, those kind of things, and a community center, a place where kids can go uh, to play or to do other things that are going on there. I think that's huge, and Fredericksburg needs that. I sat on a I don't know if it was a board or a committee or whatever back when I was doing juvenile with some of the Script family who was thinking about doing that back in the day. You know, it was 2015 ish, somewhere in there, and it just had a hard time getting it together and pulling it off. And I think that's huge in this community, every community actually, and because I think kids need a place where they can. There was a teen club when I was growing up, and they'd have a dance and Friday night dance or something periodically, and it was where teens could kind of come together and do teen things,
Hang out. That's
hang
so
out.
cool. That'd be so cool. Well, and it's it was funny. Dustin and I were traveling. Where did we go? Oh, to Lakey when we went to Lakey camping, and we drove through literally like a nothing town. I think maybe all I saw was a post office, and then I turned in. And there's a sign. It says community center that way, and I was like, dude, this town has a community center. Like, what the
Community
heck, man?
community centers are more not strictly for kids, and they're for adults and that's what I think that what you're doing in putting together meeting rooms that's huge because there's all kind of groups that need a place to meet. That's the community,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just a kid thing. Where there's adult classes, adult, you know, all kind of things going on. A family place
Yeah.
where community things can happen. Um, with adults, with younger kids, with so it's a whole, you know, grandparents.
Yeah.
It's a whole generation uh, place.
Yeah, like bridging that generational gap, like getting grandparents to come play board games with the kids and
Yeah,
that kind of thing. I talked to the people over at the Golden Hub, uh, and she was like, "We're so excited! Like they want to do like kind of a whole thing, like a multi generational, like older folks and younger kids. They want to." Already start events like that now. They're like,
yeah.
"Can we do it with your hive now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's plan that." But they're already like on board and ready to go. But we're so excited to do just that. And it's cool to see that community coming together and to support this because it's been one of those things that is a God thing. Like, there's no
Hmm.
way on this planet that I would ever have imagined this without that. Um, but I think it'll be vital, and I think what you guys are doing is so fantastic. You're already kind of promoting that here, like just them putting their efforts into something, and like if they get in trouble with vapes, like having them learn what the vape actually can do to your body. That's awesome. You know,
If they take it to heart, but
yeah, they listen.
but I mean, my I guess my philosophy and my thing through doing everything I've done with working in juvenile detention. I did that for 5 years back in the late '80s, early '90s in McKinney, Texas, all the way up through now doing probation and now case manager. Is hopefully there's something that I've said um, to a kid or to an adult that changed their life, that got them to think about what they're doing, and because if somebody doesn't care and somebody doesn't pour into to the kids, to the teenagers, to the adults, and it's life changing. That hopefully at some point in their life, some place in their life, something that I've said, a police officer said, a judge has said, that gets them to think, you know, maybe I need to do things a little different. And so that's why I do what I do.
Well, and
And
it's cool. You guys have the perfect opportunity to be the seed sowers. Like you may never see your harvest, and that's crazy. It kind of sucks, but in the same sense, it's like you sow the seed and give it to him and hope that eventually that harvest will happen. But you've had recently some opportunity to actually see the harvest come to
yeah, it was
fruition.
a few Sundays ago. I was sitting in church and got there early, and I looked across the aisle, and there was a young man and his wife, um, and I acknowledged them. They said hi to me, and then all of a sudden I look at him, and he looks at me, and it kind of clicks. And he was a juvenile that I dealt with early on, and when I took the position, I think I had him on probation off and on, mostly on for at least 4 to 5 years. He would get to the place where he would just about get off. He would go do something crazy that I would write him another 6 month deferred, and we just kept doing that process. I think I sent him off to boot camp. He actually graduated there, I believe, and I mean, to see him now, he's got 2 kids, he's married. He got baptized a few weeks ago. Before that, so a month or so ago now, and it's like, it was amazing to see because he was probably one of the kids that I would have thought might have beat everybody else to prison, but yet his life just has radically changed, and so I see that, and I see it in some of the adult defendants that I had. I see them around town or at church or wherever, and and they've changed their lives.
It's amazing. And that's a good feeling. It's cool that you and Shelly and your group in there has that ability to affect people like that. I'm sure, at the time you may be the most hated person, but eventually, just knowing that they had the course correction and that opportunity to course correct with you guys, and especially with this teen court stuff and all the education that you're providing. You're not just slapping them with a ticket, you're actually educating them on how to
Yeah,
better their life. That's
yeah. So
great.
hopefully they're learning, and juvenile probation now. She's got close to 40 kids, I believe, on probation, and lots of stuff's going on in the community and in families that's it's not going in the right direction. It's pretty sad. Um, but she has her hands full over there for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're doing is awesome, not just because I'm your daughter, but I think in general what you guys do is really cool. And just in wrapping up our interview, I always ask everybody the same question. We're more here to see about people who make a difference in the community versus, like, obviously uh, an advertisement for the hive, but really we want to invest in the people and the individual people, and like get the community to learn people who are out there actually making a difference. But one thing we ask everybody is, like, what if you were building a community center and this was your project, what is one thing that you would put in there that maybe we haven't thought of? Or what is a program? We've had great, I think Pastor Jimmy gave us a good one. He said, like the environment, to make it a safe environment, and like just your environment and your atmosphere. We've had some really cool ideas, but what's something maybe you would suggest?
I think that's important. The environment, the it's got to be a friendly place to come. But the more I think about it, and the more you've kind of targeted teens and those kind of folks. But I think for this to really be successful and really be lasting, I think it needs to be a family thing from toddlers to 90. I think through the whole, enough rooms that things can happen. There can be meeting deals involved with Christian men's life skills class, maybe a place for alumni meetings, or those kind of things, places where where the community can come.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I didn't really answer that probably very specifically, but I think if you have enough rooms and places for people to come and have community in.
Yeah, I
And
like that. So they don't age out. They
no,
just kind of be there from the day that they were two to the day that they're
yeah,
parents. I like that.
and because I think that's important, and that's the way used to have community dances, and back in that was before my time. In that uh, the community would come together and do things together like that, and that's kind of gone by the wayside because of all the electronic and media and TV and all that mess. It's just it's just kind of taken community has taken a back seat to
Yeah.
you know well, or kind of almost kind of gone away in a
Hmm.
sense. Um,
Well, in the time of COVID kind of helped with that because it pushed more things to be virtual. And so now the virtual things have stayed there. So you can take classes a little more virtually than you
yeah.
can. And I agree with you. I like that. Well, thank you. Thanks for your time. I know you're
All
headed to
right.
Men's Life now, right?
Life Skills Alumni Group. Yes.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, that's a great program. And so, once again, let me just going back a little bit. If they want to get involved with teen court, is it too late for teens if they're watching?
Um, Not necessarily too late. Maybe a little late on this fall semester, but a teen could call and sign up if they kind of and sit on the jury. We have a training deal that happened for teen attorneys and those kind of things. That happened a few weeks ago, so that window is kind of closed for this semester at the moment. but they can always come and be on the jury, or kind of get involved if they're interested.
Yeah, maybe
So
sign up for, knowledge of
yeah,
later
and
semesters and stuff. Yeah.
you know, uh, kind of hang out this year and get rolling next year if they're interested in doing that. So
Cool. Well, I think that's awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
all right, thank you.
And thanks for watching again. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to see more. And once again, Ron Sutton, coolest dad ever. And we'll see you next week on the Tuesday Buzz.